And we're back for our daily NBA predictions and best bets here for Sunday, April 20th. 4 games today here in the NBA, all game ones of the first round of the NBA playoffs. The Grizzlies go to OKC to take on the OKC Thunder. The Magic go to Boston to take on the Boston Celtics. The Miami Heat go to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. And the Golden State Warriors head on down to Houston, Texas to take on the Houston Rockets. Again, we are going to get a winner in all 4 of these games for today. Our games won today, and I'll be honest, 3 of these games kind of feel like automatics, but we're going to get into the spread, and we're going to get into, obviously, the money lines as well. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions and best bets throughout this entire postseason. Also, earlier today, we posted our MLB Best Bets. That is linked in the description down below. Go check out that video if you have not yet. And also, go make sure to check out our UFC fight at Kansas City. Full card predictions later today on Greedo Plays MMA. Actually, in a couple hours, we're going to have that video up on Greedo Plays MMA. Ian Machado, Gary, and Carlos Prates in the main event this weekend from the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, on to the first of our 4 games today. We kick things off in Oklahoma City between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a layup, in terms of the series winner. The game specifically, I think the Thunder do beat Memphis. I think personally they sweep the Grizzlies. I understand the Grizzlies look good in the Mavericks game, better than what we thought, honestly, Memphis was going to be. They just had a really hot start in that game. They let Memphis come back, cut the lead to 5 at one point, but the Grizz never trailed in that game at home in Memphis, Tennessee against Dallas. And that's all right? I mean, that's what they're supposed to do to the Mavericks. I picked Dallas because I thought, potential with the jaw injury. And, I think Ja's post-game interview with Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter was really telling when he said, yeah, I can't feel a damn thing in my knee anymore. But I'm just playing through it. So I don't know what Ja is going to be throughout the course of the 7-game series. Yes, he was great in one game where they needed to win to extend their year. I don't know how great he's going to be throughout the 7-game series. And ultimately, I don't think the series gets past 4. I'd be shocked if it gets to a game 6. I can see maybe Memphis taking one. The Grizzlies have not played the Thunder well all year long. They just haven't. The Thunder have dominated this matchup all season long. Memphis is still yet to beat OKC. The 4 times they played, the Thunder won all of them. And none of these games had a margin of single digits. The first game, the Thunder won by 24. The second game in Memphis, they won by 13. The third, they won in Memphis by 17. And the last game in Oklahoma, they beat the Grizzlies by 21 points. The Grizz just haven't been competitive against OKC. And the Thunder in a lot of these games have really just taken over in the fourth quarter. And honestly, that's what OKC does to a lot of teams, right? They are going to play shutdown defense in the fourth. Shea is going to perform, and they're going to get out of there. They're going to get you out of there. They're going to extend their lead from, the 8-point range that they've been in for most of the night. And then all of a sudden, you're staring down a 20, 25-point deficit, and the game's over. That's just what the Thunder do. They are the deepest team in the playoffs. I'm not going to deny that. I think they're the best team in the playoffs. One of the best teams in the playoffs. Again, the Lakers exist. But OKC is great. We know that. They are fully healthy now. I really never questioned how healthy they were down the stretch. Obviously, right, Hartenstein, Holmgren, and J-Dub dealt with their injuries down the stretch of the season. They are completely fine now. They got a week off, and they really got to rest the last 2.5 weeks of the season and play again, when they wanted to, essentially, because they have the number 1 seed locked up for multiple weeks. This starting lineup is elite, though, and they have the best player in basketball, the most valuable player in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I don't need to speak about how great Shai is. You know it, I know it, the American people know it. But Shai is the best player in basketball. I am concerned that his whistle is going to go away in the playoffs. And I personally don't even think Shai has the best whistle in the NBA. I think if you've been watching recently, I think Jimmy Butler has the best whistle in the NBA. I don't know where Shai's whistle is going to go in the postseason. I don't think, again, he's the foul baiter that you think he is. But, right, I do think Shai's going to get less calls than he did in the regular season. Hell, it was apparent last year when they played the Dallas Mavericks. Some of Shai's calls just went away in that semifinal matchup. However, against the Grizzlies, they're not going to need free throws to beat Memphis. They won't. They are going to dominate the Memphis Grizzlies. They just will. I don't know where Memphis beats this team. Ja's going to be in hell the entire series, likely with Shai on him. I don't know what he's going to be able to do. Desmond Bane, I don't think is going to be able to create his own shot against, a Lou Dort. Jaren Jackson's going to have Chet Holmgren on him, who's just a more athletic version of him, I'd say. I don't know about lateral quickness-wise, but Chet will be able to hold Jaren Jackson. And Hartenstein is not going to allow Edey to do anything. Yes, Edey is going to grab his fair share of rebounds just because of his height. I just don't think he's going to be all that effective in the series. Edey hasn't always started all of these games against OKC. They have started Aldama in some of these, which, sure, you just force the Thunder to play big against you. You force, Chet to guard the perimeter with Aldama shooting the three-pointer potentially. That's okay, but, regardless of who starts for the Grizzlies, I think the Thunder have them tonight. And honestly, in the series as a whole. This is a statement game. The Thunder will blow them out in game one. The games the Grizzlies will have potential to win will be in Memphis. I personally don't think they stand a chance in either of these two games in Oklahoma City, especially because these games are on Sunday and Tuesday. On top of that, this is the earliest game today, obviously. It's at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Eastern, or I guess Central Time. That would be in OKC. That would be at noon. The Grizzlies just played less than 36 hours ago. They just played. Ja, we don't know how healthy he truly is. I just don't like the Grizzlies at all in this series. Yeah, good on them. They got in the playoffs. The much more favorable matchup for them was Houston. They get OKC now. They couldn't beat the Warriors, and now they're likely going to get swept. But we're taking the Oklahoma City Thunder to absolutely dominate the Grizzlies in this game. The Grizzlies have not been competitive with the Thunder all year long. Why would that start in the playoffs with the Thunder coming off of, a 9-day rest and the Grizzlies having to play 2 games last week? Yeah, give me the Thunder to sweep. But today, minus 12.5, minus 750. We go to our second game of the night. Magic Celtics. Dare I say these two series that we're talking about right now, again, the Thunder Grizz and now this one, are probably the two least competitive series in these playoffs. I think they just are, I'm going to be honest with you. Boston's good. We know they are. They're a 61-win team. They're great. Jaylen Brown, there was a little bit of injury problem. He's going to play game one, obviously. I think Jaylen Brown is almost fully healthy, if not fully healthy. I don't know how Orlando gets I don't know how they get 4 games off of Boston. I don't really think that's, really a, topic of conversation. I will give the Magic credit. They won the season series against Boston. They played 3 times. The first game on December 23rd in Orlando, the Magic ended up winning that game by 4 points. Tristan Da Silva ended up leading the Magic in points that game, which was odd. No Jason Tatum, though, in that matchup for Boston. It is what it is. The second time they played, Boston was healthy. The Magic weren't, but Boston blew them out. The third time they played, Boston was sitting their guys. Yes, the Celtics scored 76 points in Orlando, but Baylor Shireman, the rookie out of Creighton via South Dakota State, was the Celtics' leading scorer. They weren't playing any of their starters. The Celtics started Baylor Shireman, Torrey Craig, Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, and Peyton Pritchard this game. So, yeah, there's really not much to put in that one. Okay. The Magic, we know what they are. They're a very good defensive team. Guys, it's tough playing against the Celtics squad, though, man. It just is. A Boston team that has one of the greatest offensive units of all time. And just because of their style of play, obviously, this Joe Mazzulla basketball where they shoot more three-pointers than any other team in NBA history, they're tough to guard, they're tough to keep up with, and a team like Orlando's not going to be that squad that's going to do so. I think, personally, I don't think a purely defensive-minded team, and there's not a lot of them in this, in this modern NBA. Hell, Orlando's really the only prominent team I can think of right now. But a defensive-minded first team like Orlando is not going to beat Boston in a 7-game series because they're not going to be able to score on the other side. Yes, Paolo Banchero is going to have his nights. Franz Wagner is going to be good as well. Hell, we saw that playing game where Cole Anthony and Anthony Black were spectacular against the Atlanta Hawks. Both those guys hitting every single shot they were given in that game. I just don't think they're going to be able to match Boston. I think the Celtics are going to find ways to get their wide open shots just because of how they play in transition, because of the open shots that they take, and because of the open shots that they force the defense to give them. Obviously, when you get a hot hand like a Jason Tatum, like a Jaylen Brown, then you create for wide open spots for a Derek White, for a Drew Holiday, for a Peyton Pritchard. It makes this team extremely difficult to beat. I don't think there's many teams that can beat the Boston Celtics in a 7-game series. I think when you go to the grand scheme of things, I think the main teams come out the Western Conference, and the two we look at are the Thunder and the Los Angeles Lakers personally, and I will make the case of the Los Angeles Clippers as well. In the East, I think there's two teams that can compete with them. I don't know if the Cavs and Pacers can beat Cavs and Pacers can beat Boston, but we'll have to wait and see for that. I'm taking the Celtics to dominate the Magic. I think the Magic will play much more competitive basketball in Orlando, just because that's how they play. In Boston, I think it's going to be tough sledding for them. I'm taking the Celtics to dominate and cover the 13.5. They're going to get out ahead early with those big threes, and I just don't think they're going to give the lead back up. So give me Boston to dominate Orlando tonight and cover the 13.5 points. Next up, we go to Cleveland, Ohio. It is the battle of the LeBron James teams in the Eastern Conference. The Cleveland Cavaliers take on the Miami Heat. I'm taking Cleveland to win, but I'm taking Miami on the spread. I think the Heat can actually get a couple games off the Cavs. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if that's just one. It probably is just one game that they get. But I think they are going to steal a game off Cleveland. I believe so. Miami's looking really good right now. They are. They went on that big 8-game losing streak in the middle of the year where it just looked like, all right, this team's dead in the water, right? They don't have an identity post Jimmy Butler. They just couldn't win a game. I think it might have been longer than 8 games. It was like 10 games, whatever. This team's kind of hot right now. I mean, you look at the play-in, right? I mean, they win back-to-back games. They're heating up. You look at that win in Chicago and Atlanta, the overtime win over the Hawks. They give up the lead in the fourth quarter. But, man, Davion Mitchell, the emergence of Davion Mitchell on this team's insane, man. Right? A guy who did not even start the year with Miami. He was a Toronto Raptor to start the season. The season he has put together is insane. Points per game go up a whole 4 points, leaving Toronto going to Miami for the final 30 games of the season, right? Davion Mitchell has been a game changer for the squad. And I'll make the case Davion Mitchell should probably enter the starting lineup for this basketball team. I'm just going to be honest. Alec Burks gives you good minutes, yes. Mitchell obviously plays the clutch time minutes. I think he should be getting the starting minutes over Burks personally. It's the shortened playoff rotation for Eric Spoelstra. It's 8 guys. And really, I mean, Duncan Robinson doesn't really play much in the fourth quarter. But it's Tyler Hero, Davion Mitchell, Alec Burks, Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, Cleo Ware, Hayward Highsmith, and Duncan sometimes, right? Rozier, Jaquez, Kyle Anderson will play too. But Rozier and Jaquez have been completely, eliminated from the rotation. All right, which is fine. They play better without those guys, I think. I know how good Cleveland is. I completely understand. This team's very good. They won 64 games, and that's, there's a reason they won those games, right? You got 4 All-Stars on your team. 3 All-Stars on your team with Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley. Max Strus is great. Jared Allen is really good as well. And the DeAndre Hunter trade was, a trade that they made for the postseason. That trade was specifically made for Boston and for teams like Miami too. Again, if you need a good defensive guy off the bench or clutch minutes, you can take Darius Garland off the court and just put DeAndre Hunter on the best player on the Heat, which will probably be Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's taken over, towards the end of the season, obviously, right? In the play-in, back-to-back 30-plus point games. Hero's good. I don't need to tell you that. You know how good Tyler Hero is. He can really create for his own shot. Bam Adebayo played a really good, play-in as well. Yeah, they struggled some with Onyeka, but it is what it is. Okongwu had literally the game of his life. When Okongwu hit that big dunk off the steal, I thought the game was over. When Chicago went up by 5 or 6 points, I think it was. And, the Heat eventually ended up winning the basketball game, and Pat Riley works his magic again, right? But I think Miami's going to play a very competitive game 1. I understand Cleveland's been in the playoffs now back-to-back seasons. It's their 3rd straight year in the playoffs with Donovan Mitchell. I believe it's 3. Miami has been here, man. I understand they're not always a contender, and you look at, where the Miami Heat finish on a year-to-year basis, I completely understand. They've been the 8th seed, the last 3 seasons? 3 of the last 4 seasons they've been the 8th seed? Sure. These guys have, they are equipped for playoff basketball. People kind of, make fun of the whole Pat Riley Heat culture thing, and I get it. It's kind of corny, I'm not going to lie. It's not Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo's first rodeo in the playoffs. Same with Duncan Robinson. Andrew Wiggins hasn't played a playoffs with the Heat yet, but he won a world championship with the Golden State Warriors. There are veteran guys who have been in this spot before. I know they won 37 games. They're 8 games under 500, but this team is built for the postseason, and I think we're going to get the best Miami Heat basketball right now. The thing is the best Miami Heat basketball good enough to be the Cavaliers in a 7-game series? 100% no. They're not going to be able to keep up throughout the course of the 7-game series. I think there's a chance Miami gets 2 games, though. I really think there is. I think they're getting 1. They might get 2. I don't think it's tonight, but I think what tonight will be for Miami is a statement that, okay, we can compete with you. we can, again, Tyler Hero will hit his shots. Adebayo will dominate. Davion Mitchell, I think, will have another good night. And I think, again, tonight sends a statement for the Heat with Spoelstra, with Riley, with Tyler Hero that, okay, we're going to keep up with you. I think Cleveland wins, but I do think this is a much tougher series for Cleveland than a potential Atlanta series. And yes, I picked the Hawks in the play-in, but watching Miami deal with adversity and find a way to beat Atlanta at the end of the game, the shots Davion Mitchell's hitting, the confidence in which Davion Mitchell is playing as well, I kind of believe in the Heat a little bit here. I don't think they beat Cleveland in a 7-game series, but they're showing me something right now. So give me Cleveland tonight to win, obviously, but the best bet for this specific game is Miami plus 12.5. Okay. Let's go into our final game of the night. We go to Houston, Texas. The Toyota Center, the Houston Rockets take on the Golden State Warriors. I'm going with the Houston Rockets to win. I am. I'm taking Houston to beat Golden State. I think Amen Thompson's going to have Steph Curry in hell. I just think he's going to. That is my main reasoning for taking Houston tonight, and that's my main reasoning for Houston to win the series in 7 games. It will be Amen Thompson forcing the Warriors to win without Steph Curry. Scottie Pippen did a decent job guarding Steph Curry in the play-in game. Amen Thompson's going to take that to the 10th degree. They are going to force the Warriors to beat them with Jimmy Butler and with Jimmy Butler's foul baiting. Let's just be honest, guys. Again, we want to talk about how SGA is the best whistle in the league. It's Jimmy Butler. It just is. And I'm not going to straight up tell you that, the only reason the Warriors beat the Grizzlies is because of the fouls. No, the Grizzlies got a lot of beneficial calls towards them in the fourth quarter. I completely understand that. But throughout the course of the game, throughout the course of the last month that Jimmy Butler's been with Golden State, the whistle he has gotten has been crazy. And sure, it's playoff Jimmy. I completely understand. He had a great play-in game against Memphis. But just Jimmy Butler's not going to beat the Houston Rockets. He's just not. I get it. Houston hasn't been in the spot. This is a somewhat young team playoff-wise. I understand Fred VanVleet won a championship with the Toronto Raptors back in 2019. 2019. Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, Alfred Şengün. Dylan Brooks, none of these guys have ever seen success in the playoffs yet. None of these guys have been afforded the opportunity, don't get me wrong. And they're playing the Warriors, who a lot of people expect to win the series. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it starts with game 1 tonight. And this is, and what game 1s usually are, they're trendsetters. They are, things will change throughout the course of series, and that's why you watch the games. But a game 1 can dictate a lot of things, and I think Houston dictates, a dominant defensive performance tonight. I think Alfred Şengün's going to have a big night. I think Houston's going to make a point out of trying to dominate Draymond Green. Draymond's good. Is he the D-boy? Probably not. I think they're going to feed Şengün a lot. I think they're going to force Jimmy Butler to beat them. And I think they're going to force the other guys around Jimmy as well. Because again, Amen Thompson's not going to let Steph breathe tonight, guys. He's just not going to. You saw the way the Rockets played the Warriors in that last game on April 6th. Again, Curry, what did Curry go from the field? 1 for 10 from the field, 1 for 8 from 3. Steph was chucking up the most random shots because he just couldn't find clean looks. Yeah, the Warriors won 3 out of 5 this year against Houston, but guys, this is actually the best the Rockets have ever played in a full season over Golden State. Usually the Warriors sweep them every year. It's been the curse since, 2019 when the Rockets blew that 3-2 lead at home, and we're not going to get into the calls of that Game 7 in Houston. That was ridiculous. Regardless, if Houston would have won that game, maybe LeBron's got 5 rings right now. Anyways, now probably the Rockets end up beating the Cavs. I'm just going to be honest. But anyways, that timeline of James Harden and Chris Paul would have won a title in 2019. My goodness. Anyways, the Rockets have shut down Curry this year. They have. You look back at the in-season tournament game, the semifinal game, or the game to get into Vegas, the quarterfinal game. They limited Curry as much as possible. They're a scrappy young team, man. They are. The Warriors have really, they've really limited that rotation, playoff rotation, right? Kuminga's been completely squeezed out. Kuminga's going to be dealt in trade this offseason because he just doesn't make Steve Kerr's rotation anymore, and that's fine. But I just think matchup-wise, the Rockets are going to deal with the Warriors pretty well. This is going to be an amped-up Houston crowd. Guys, this Rockets fan base and this Rockets crowd have not forgotten about 2019 and the previous years of struggle with Golden State as well, but especially that year. That felt like Houston's season. Obviously, right, Harden's in Los Angeles, CP3's in San Antonio, different squad now. but I really don't think that that fan base and the ownership have forgotten at all in the front office. This series means something to them, and you get the Warriors going to your place as a 7 seed. Go get the job done. We're taking the Houston Rockets to win Game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, and it's going to be because of Amen Thompson, and it's going to be because of the supporting cast of the Warriors. I don't think Podziemski has a great night. I don't think Moses Moody has a great night. I think Jimmy plays out of his mind. I just don't think it's going to be enough to give the Warriors the victory. I'm going with the Houston Rockets at home in Houston to win Game 1 here over the Golden State Warriors. So folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA predictions and best bets for Game 1 for the remainder of these playoff series this year. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more NBA predictions. I believe 3 games tomorrow in the NBA. No, only 2. Pistons, Knicks, Clippers, Nuggets. Make sure to join us for that video tomorrow, folks, and with our MLB Best Bets every single day, and with the UFC predictions over on Greedo Plays MMA as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.